Hi, I'm Matt with State of Flux here with another 52-week movie challenge from Everyone's a Critic. We are on week 15. The challenge this week was a B movie. The film I chose, Eight-Legged Freaks. Year release 2002, aspect ratio 2391, runtime 1 hour and 39 minutes, genre sci-fi horror, rated PG-13, starring David Arquette, Carrie Werner, Scott Terra, Scarlett Johansson, and Doug E. Doug, directed by Elroy Elkiam, produced by Warner Brothers, written by Elroy Elkiam, Randy Cornfield, which sounds like a stage name, and Jesse Alexander. Music by John Ottman, most notable for doing the works of Bryan Singer's films, including all of the Bryan Singer-led X-Men films. He does not bring that same energy or gravitas to this film. Awards received, it was nominated only for a Saturn Award for Best Horror Film, which it did not win. Why did I choose this particular film? I chose Eight-Legged Freaks because that very same day I had finished watching the new Scream movie yet again, and I was like, you know what I could use more of in my life? David Arquette. I had Googled best B movies, and Eight-Legged Freaks was the top choice. I'd just watched Scream. David Arquette it is. So, had I seen this film before? Yeah, I saw it in high school about a year after it came out. And I'm absolutely petrified of spiders, but I liked it. I thought it had a fun energy, plus that was the time I was supporting every single thing any person from Scream had ever been in, so I would go to the theater and watch it. This was the movie that broke that. My fear of spiders outweighed my adoration of the Scream cast, so I did not check this one out in theaters. Would I recommend this film? Why or why not? Well, as far as B movies go, it's not bad. It's certainly better than any Sharknado that came after, and it's not made to. It's made as a fun monster movie. Like, they were going for the same kind of energy as Tremors. In fact, this movie just quite blatantly rips off Tremors, but it also has that same frenetic energy that you get from a lot of those 50 monster movies. And that I appreciate. However, when it's doing a little tongue-in-cheeky stuff, that's when the film kind of loses me, and it just didn't really have the digital budget to sell it. Now, there's something charming about films like Tarantula, which have bad special effects or very obvious normal-sized spider put onto a giant green screen to make it look huge, or having things like Them, where they build like giant rod puppet monsters, and you know the special effects look bad, but it's charming and it adds to an appeal. For whatever reason, digital doesn't work that same way. With digital effects, when something looks bad or kind of poorly rendered, and I'm sure it looked good at the time. In fact, I remember it looking good at the time, but like by today's standards, it just doesn't look good, and it loses that charm, and it's not in a way that benefits the movie in any way. In fact, I think this movie could work now with the way everywhere we've come with digital effects. You could make this same movie using large portions of the same script and have a far more successful film. However, what works best with this film is David Arquette is kind of great in most things that he's in, and he's good in this movie, but it's Carrie Werner and her character that I really, really liked. She's the sheriff of the town, and she's pretty great. She is the shining star of the film. And then Scarlett Johansson is quite good, and they have a good narrative thread with her that they just drop to have her go back to awful toxic guy in the end of that film, which does not age well. Which character were you most able to identify with or connect with, and in what way? I liked the kid who was obsessed with spiders. He played young Matt Murdock in the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie, and he's a good actor. I should look him up and see if he's still acting, because he had good timing for his comedy. He was really good being information guy. He had just a nice energy and aura about him. I liked him, even though I'm not Mr. Spider guy. I also had lots of obsessions when I was young, and I was very free to expel any information that I knew at people who were even vaguely interested. So I could relate to that kid. Best line or most memorable quote, I think the title of the film and David Arquette's excellent delivery of "Get back, you eight-legged freaks!" as he's on the tower shooting them with shotguns is the standout here. Were you surprised by the ending, and in what way? What would you do differently? Was I surprised by the ending? I'm trying to go back initially. The one thing this thing kind of has going for it, much like Tremors did, or Gremlins to some extent, is it was not afraid to kill characters, so when there were people on screen, you knew that they could possibly die. It doesn't go nearly far enough, as most of those movies I just mentioned really don't go far enough at killing off main characters. I think that is a necessity, and why something like Aliens, which itself was kind of an elevated B movie, really works, is because nobody's safe, and I would have probably taken out one or two of the leads, or more like elevated characters than this film is comfortable doing. That said, what would I do differently? I don't know, I guess that, I wasn't necessarily surprised by the end, but I was excited to see how they were going to take them all out. And, I mean, if you've seen Tremors, you've seen this movie. What changes would you implement to make this an A-list movie? Glossier special effects, maybe give... The problem is that it's too serious in its tone to embrace the absurd concept. So you either make a very serious giant spider movie, which is hard to do, not impossible, but very hard to do. A film like Them really kind of sold that kind of giant insect story, so it's completely possible to do something like that. Even Tremors, giant worm story, works. What keeps it from being that is that it's a serious movie, but it also kind of wants to be funny, so it wants to eat its own cake, you know what I mean? And you have David Arquette, who's a great comedic actor in a mostly dramatic role. You could have him, know the movie he's in. If we were to make it nowadays, I think Daniel Radcliffe is an excellent example of somebody who always understands whatever he's in. If the scene requires something to be completely serious, he's capable of doing it. If it requires a little bit of humor, he is able to completely bring that. He understands the satirical nature that a film could potentially possess, and so I would pump it up with some film or stars who are able to be in movies that they kind of know the movie they're in. That would be my biggest thing. Anything else I'd like to add? Not really. This is a pretty streamlined movie. It's fun. I'd say it's okay. It's worth seeing if you like giant monster movies, especially. If you like David Arquette, or even young Scarlett Johansson, this is a good one for you. Alright, here's a tease for next week. Challenge 16. Choose a silent film. Well, that'll be kind of fun. I will do that. That's your tease next week. I'll have a silent film coming right at you. Thanks for watching. Bye.